Rochester as they went 6-5 last season. Onyeruka picks up 4 on that play. 2nd down and 6 from the 17. No score. We're just underway at Case Field today. Onyeruka with some good running room as he breaks over the right tackle. Gets out across the 20, close to the 24-yard line.
With Rochester being mostly a running team, they come out and they show a pro set offense with a straight tailback, and Case has shifted out of their traditional 3-3-5 into what amounts a 4-3, starting the defensive front tonight. Dan Fode's up front for Case, along with Dale English, Jake May, and John Genovese will be your front 4. Traditionally, Case playing that 3-3-5.
It is good for a first down. They get out to the 24-yard line. Barrett calls out the signals. They'll hand to Onyeruka again. He's tripped up in the backfield, ankle tackled, and the first man to get a hand on him was Jeff Brown, who was the co-defensive player of the week in the UAA last week after his performance at Kenyon. He records his first tackle of the day, and it's 2nd down and 11 as Onyeruka loses a yard on that play, and the football is marked at the 23.
Well, Case was very effective last year in that run blitz setup, Dave. They would always seem to bring one linebacker, whether or not that was Brown or Brew or Tiemeyer, would come up and really play the run. And in that case, it paid off as Jeff Brown went through a gap and dropped Onyeruka for a loss.
They'll hand to Onyeruka again. Same exact play over the right side of the line. He gets out across the 25 to the 27. He picks up 4. But it's a 3rd and 7 now for the University of Rochester. 12:41 to go in the first quarter. We have no score in the home opener for the Spartans today at beautiful Case Field here in University Circle.
When you look at the Rochester offense, Dave, you wouldn't necessarily think this is a Baskin and Robbins 31 flavors. They really seem to have vanilla and chocolate are your only options. They run left, they run right.
Clarence Onyeruka already has gotten 3 carries for 10 yards. He's lined up in the backfield again. Now back to throw. Barrett on 3rd and 7. He is sacked. The Spartans get to the quarterback, Adam Barrett. And in on the sack for Case was John Genovese, the senior out of Englewood, Ohio, who wrapped him up and threw him down.
Well, Genovese had a little bit of a stunt from his defensive end position. He came around the outside. Onyeruka was responsible for that corner. Genovese ran through him and brought down Barrett for the sack.
So a 4th down and 12 now from the 22-yard line. And the punting unit comes on for Rochester. Their punter is Pat Till. And back deep for Case on the high snap. Here is the punt. They do get it off. Bobby Bott waved for the fair catch, but it never got anywhere close to Bott. It does take a Rochester bounce, and it rolls all the way back to the Case 45-yard line, and that's where the Spartan offensive unit will come out, but there is a flag on the play.
As Tim Lotz was rushing the kicker, there's going to be holding against Rochester. The play was offset as the snap was high. It threw the timing off. Lotz got around the corner. As he came around the corner, he was grabbed and pulled down.
Greg Debelak in his 5th season at Case, 25-18 overall, and he is saying down on the sideline that we want to have them re-kick. So Case would have had pretty good field position at the 45 had they declined the penalty, but they will mark off the yardage and have them re-kick, and this time Pat Till will end up kicking from his own goal line.
Well, these are the toughest returns to have in football, Dave, because not only is the ball slick as it comes down, but you have to look up into what is a drizzly rain. So it's just kind of dripping on your face, off your face mask, and you're trying to catch a wet football at the same time. Very tough assignment for the return men.
Till is 2 yards deep in the end zone. Gonsalves and Bott now stationed at the Rochester 45. Here's the snap, and here is the kick, and so kick coming right to Bobby Bott. He will try and return it. He makes the catch, but he's hit and dropped at the 45-yard line. Rochester covers that well. Matt Stack, the defensive back out of Monroe, New York, comes in, takes out Bobby Bott, and the Case offensive unit will start out their first drive of the day already in Rochester territory.
And it will be Joey Baum. He'll start at quarterback for Case.
Joey Baum, the co-offensive player of the week. Baum taking over for Dan Whalen, who is out at least at the outset of this game with a hamstring injury. Baum, the sophomore, 6'1", 195. Went to high school at Walsh Jesuit. Greg Meyer gets the first carry of the football game and bounces off a blocker. Tries to stay on his feet, but then he is hit and dropped. They will give him forward progress to the 44. So a 1-yard gain for Greg Meyer.
Case with a little different look to start the game. They came out with two tight ends, DJ Sutka, Bryce Coleman, both in the ball game. Not the traditional spread offense we're used to seeing from Case.
Now Baum will work from the shotgun, empty backfield. 5 receivers in the football game on 2nd down and 9. No score first quarter, 10:28 to play in quarter number 1. Baum avoids a tackler, throws it downfield for Colasar. It's caught. He's on the way to the end zone. He'll go in. Touchdown. Ryan Colasar from Joey Baum, a 44-yard touchdown pass. And the officials are talking, and Ed, we'll see if this one's coming back. It is offside against Rochester. It'll be declined, and it's a touchdown for Case.
When Case showed the 5 wide receiver set, Rochester called an audible on defense. They moved into a pressure blitz formation. The defensive backs moved up to the line of scrimmage. They went one-on-one with the 5 wide receivers. Rochester brought 6. Case blocked 5 of them. Baum avoided the rush from the remaining defensive player from Rochester and hit a Colasar wide open at the 20-yard line. He took it in the rest of the way for the touchdown.
Sam Coffey will come on to try the extra point. Colasar with the hold. The kick is up, and it is good, and Case has a 7-0 lead with 10:19 to play in the first quarter. We'll step aside for this timeout. Back with more action from Case Field in just a moment on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Joey Baum to Ryan Colasar. Last week, Colasar had 4 catches for 56 yards and 1 touchdown, and he almost equals that yardage with his first catch this afternoon. Now the kickoff gets away from the up back. It was another low line drive bouncing kick, and it's finally picked up by Elvis Njoku. And he tries a return, but only gets out to the 18-yard line after fielding that ball at about the 10. And so it was a near disaster there, Ed, but Rochester ends up securing the football, and they will start their second drive down 7-0.
Well, let's skip past 2 players before Njoku could pick it up at the 10-yard line and bring it upfield.
So here come the Yellow Jackets. The junior quarterback, Adam Barrett, 6'3", 189-pounder, out of Avon, New York. Went to Avon High School, but not the one from the Cleveland area. They'll hand to Clarence Onyeruka, and he is hit in the backfield, dropped, and maybe gained a yard. Good defensive coverage there by Case. 2nd down and 9. They give him 1 on the play. 9:55 to go in the first quarter. David Wilson, Ed Doherty at Case Field for game 2 of this Spartan football season. The Spartans ranked 18th by D3Football.com following their 62-27 win against Kenyon last week, and they're off to a 7-0 start here today as Baum hooks up with Colasar on a 44-yard touchdown pass. Barrett over center. Calls out the signals. Goes back, hands to Onyeruka, and he has a good hole open up. Lost the ball, but I believe he was down as he hit the turf at the 26-yard line. It'll be a 6-yard gain for Onyeruka, and it'll be 3rd down and about 3.
Well, Jeff Brown just missed a tackle in the backfield. Brown picked the outside shoulder of the guard to come through on his run blitz, and Onyeruka took it up the inside between the center and the guard and picked up 5 yards on the carry, but it could have been a 3-yard loss had Brown at full speed been able to knock him down in the backfield.
Brown had 6 tackles last week, 3 tackles for loss, and he had the interception return for a touchdown when he ran one back 46 yards for Case. Back to throw, Barrett rolling left. Now he tucks it under, keeps it, runs for the first down as he dives out across the 30-yard line. Picks up about 5. He only needed 3. It's a first down for the Yellow Jackets.
Good coverage in the secondary. Luis Gonsalves and in the secondary, Ben Klabina also back there providing the coverage, forcing him to take that upfield, Barrett to take that upfield and pick up the first down.
8:21 to play here in quarter number 1. 7-0 Case. It is 1st and 10 for Rochester from the 32-yard line. They'll hand to Onyeruka again, picking his way forward out to the 35, a pickup of about 4. 2nd down coming up for Rochester. The 3rd member of our crew today is Nick Stroud. He's on the field, on the sideline with a report.
May be out with an injury right now. That doesn't mean he's not helping out this offense. When the team huddles up, he's the first one in there. He's walking up and down the sidelines with Coach Doublejack, and he's really a part of this offense. And also, it looks like he's got a great relationship with backup Joey Baum. After Joey threw that touchdown, he went up to him, first one to congratulate him, and he said, "Joey, 1 for 1 in a touchdown. That's not so bad."
Nick, thank you very much. And really, knowing Dan Whalen the way we do around the Case football program, it's not surprising at all that he would be the first one out there cheering on Joey Baum. Another running play as Barrett keeps it, gets to the 40, to the 42, hit and knocked out of bounds. Lucas Sasala there to finish him off. Mike Pelyak in there as well. And it is another first down.
It seems to be the most effective play that Rochester has going this afternoon is to send the receivers deep, look for good coverage, and let Barrett step up in the pocket and take off with the football.
So Barrett runs for the first down and gets out to the 42-yard line. A pickup of close to 10 there for the first down run. 7-0 Case, 7:05 to play here in the first quarter on a rainy day here in Cleveland. We're at the Village of 115 on the Case campus for the home opener today for the Spartans. Barrett will pitch it back this time to Onyeruka, and he has some good running room around the left side. He's able to turn the corner, still on his feet across midfield, past the 45, and run out of bounds near the Case 40-yard line.
Bradley Paramore came up, tried to make the tackle near midfield, put his shoulder right into Onyeruka's thigh and just bounced right off. Onyeruka just powered for the extra 10 yards. He ran right over Paramore like Paramore was on the ground as opposed to delivering a blow to his legs.
17-yard pickup for Clarence Onyeruka. And the football now in Case territory at the 40-yard line. 7-0 Spartans with 6.5 to play here in the first quarter. Case 1-0. It's the season opener for the University of Rochester Yellow Jackets. Barrett calls the signals back to Onyeruka, straight ahead. And now at the 37-yard line as he picks up 3. And Ed, this guy is a workhorse in every sense of the word. He was not their number 1 back last year, but yet had some games where he carried 30-plus times. And, in fact, had 219 yards in a game last October 27th against Susquehanna University, a game that Rochester won 38-20. So he is certainly used to being called on numerous times during the course of a game, and already today he has carried it 9 times for 46 yards. Barrett calling out the signals. 2 receivers, 1 on each side. He'll go back to throw. He'll tuck it under again and try and run with it to the 35, to the 30, to the 25, down to the 20-yard line, 17 yards on the quarterback keeper. And Barrett moving this team down the field. And now on the 20-yard line.
The rain picking up, Dave, getting even heavier than it was. It was a heavy drizzle, and now it's a steady downpour here midway through the first quarter. You were talking about the running game and 30 carries for Anya Ruka. If Rochester had their way, they'd probably prefer to run the ball twice as many times as they throw it this afternoon. That seemed to be the pattern last year, and could you expect any more from a fullback who is a head coach now in Scott Green?
Anya Ruka will be grabbed in the backfield and tackled. Not much gain there, and might have lost a yard. Case with a nice job filling that hole. Rich Doolin, the freshman defensive end, getting some time there on the defensive front. And keep in mind, the Spartans today playing without Brian Calderon, the Brecksville Broadview Heights graduate, the standout senior for Case. He is out with a knee injury, not dressed today. And the rain really coming down now very, very hard with 4.5 minutes to play in the first quarter. Back to throw Barrett. Jump pass to Coolball, fumbles with it and cannot hang on. It's an incomplete pass. And
inside little bubble screen to the wide receiver cutting across the middle. And it just hit him in the shoulder pads, and with the wet ball and wet hands, he wasn't able to haul it in after it bounced off his pads.
Barrett going airborne to throw that one. And it is 3rd down and 12 from the Case 22-yard line, with the Spartans leading at 7-0. It's great to have you with us today on our broadcast coverage on AM 1220 here in the Cleveland area. Nick Miller running things back at the Salem headquarters. And also we welcome all of you listening in via the internet at case.edu. Barrett, a quick toss out to Coolball on the sideline, dives forward but cannot get any yardage, maybe back to the line of scrimmage. And so that's a completed pass, but for no gain, and it's 4th and 12.
Ben Klabino with a great open field tackle. Didn't really get too nervous about the moves that Coolball was putting on him, and reached out and grabbed both ankles and brought Coolball down for no gain.
Right now, it appears that Scott Green is sending Barrett back in there, and they may be going for it here on 4th and 12, deep enough in Case territory. But it does not look like they are interested in a field goal opportunity here.
It'd be a 40-yard field goal in the rain. That's about the limit that most Division III kickers can attempt.
And now a whistle, and we may have a timeout. We do indeed. Rochester will take a breather and talk things over before this 4th down play. We'll step away for a timeout. 3:37 to go in the first quarter. Case 7, Rochester nothing. Back after this on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Today via email. If you'd like to let us know you're out there listening, sportsinfo@case.edu. That's sportsinfo@case.edu. That will come directly to the attention of Craig Yantz, the Assistant Athletic Director and Sports Information Director here at Case Western Reserve. 4th down, 12 with the rain falling. Rochester going for it from the Case 22. Barrett throws, and it is trapped. He throws short. It was caught on one hop out there by the intended target. He was throwing to Zach Inglesby, their leading returning receiver from last year's team, but Inglesby could not come up with that one. Had a little bit underthrown. Case takes over on downs here with 3.5 minutes to play in the first quarter.
Well, it's actually coming so quickly, the water, that it's beginning to pool on the field. That's something you don't usually see on an artificial surface.
It is really coming down hard. Baum will go to Greg Meyer on the first play from scrimmage. He's broken down the far sideline, midfield to the 40. He is finally caught, still on his feet, but he stepped out of bounds. They were not able to bring Greg Meyer down. They were only able to get him to step out of bounds, and he still kept motoring, but he ends up stepping out at the Rochester 35-yard line.
Chris Posetta knocked him out of bounds after a pickup of almost 45 yards.
Case running the no huddle right now. They'll go to Meyer again, picks his way forward past the 30. He's tripped up and lands at the 27-yard line. Another gain of 8 yards.
Neil Dolan, Chris Center with a couple of big blocks on that game, knocking down that defensive front for Rochester. They outweigh that defensive front by almost 30 pounds per man.
Meyer's initial run on this drive, 43 yards, and now the ball is dropped. It appeared to be dropped, but Chekin picks it up, bounces off the left side. Now he rumbles down the sideline. He'll go in. It's a touchdown. Corey Chekin with a 27-yard touchdown run. And Case jumps on top 13-0 as they move down the field using just 4 plays after starting at their own 22.
Without throwing the football. How often do you see Case go almost the length of the field and not put the ball in the air one time?
Sam Coffey setting up for the extra point. 2:42 to go in the first quarter. Here is the kick. It is up, and in a driving hard rain, Case strikes for their second touchdown of the day. It's 14-0. 2:42 to go in the first quarter. Back after this 30-second timeout on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Game by a score of 14-0 in the first quarter. 2:42 to play here in the opening period at Case Field. The rain falling very hard right now, and Ed, we're surmising here that that was a direct snap to Corey Chekin prior to that 27-yard touchdown run. It appeared at first that it was a fumbled snap that Corey picked up, but I believe you're right that it was a direct snap to the Spartans fullback. This kickoff from Sam Coffey bouncing. It's fumbled in the backfield, but finally Coolball comes up with it, and they are having a lot of trouble with those long snaps. I should say those bouncing kicks by the Rochester.
We're off.
Yeah.
Have to reset this. Well, no, it's deactivated.
The 30-yard line, they'll hand this to Onyeruka. Onyeruka stopped at the we'll see where they mark him down. 2:22 to go in the first quarter.
It's the same problem we had last year. But
and Barrett will hand to Onyeruka. He is wrapped up in the backfield and tackled short of the 30-yard line. Might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. And for those of you listening on the internet, we are going to try to keep bringing you the action here. We're having some difficulty in our radio booth. So we will try to keep this going for you, at least let you know what's happening on the field.
The ISDN did the same thing it did last year.
Third down and 11 with 1 minute to play in the first quarter. Barrett keeping it, gets out to the 35, fumbles the football. Case has recovered. Case takes over with 1:01 to play in the first quarter as Barrett was hit and lost the football.
It's not reading the.
Hello? Yeah, we're trying to get it back on. I don't have any idea what happened. I'm working on it. I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Okay. That's not it. Pushing it in harder because. Spartans are marching with the football right now, and we rejoin you from rainy Case Field, where there is 8 minutes and 34 seconds left in the second quarter. Case leading it by a score of 14-0 over Rochester, and we welcome you back to our broadcast coverage. We apologize for leaving you momentarily, and we appreciate Nick Miller and Joe Sweeney's help for getting us back on the air. The rain continues to fall here at Case Field, and the Spartans have the football. 3rd down and 8 from the Rochester 23-yard line. The Spartans keeping the ball on the ground. Joey Baum, the quarterback, filling in for the injured Dan Whalen, limping noticeably on the field right now. Bill Dyman in the ball game in the backfield. It is now a 4th down play for Case, and the Spartans will send Sam Coffey on. While we were away, Ed, Coffey missed a field goal that hit the left upright, and it bounced away no good. And so Case now will send Coffey back out, and they will spot this ball at the 27. So this is a 37-yard attempt on 4th and 5. There's the snap, the hold by Colasar. The kick is on its way. It is good, and the Spartans extend the lead by a score now of 17-0 over the University of Rochester Yellow Jackets. Now, during the changeover here, we would normally go away for a break. We're going to keep it here and try and reestablish what's going on here today. We were off the air momentarily. We're not sure if the rain has anything to do with it or not, but I know it is playing havoc with some of the sideline communication systems as well. So hopefully we're back on for the duration. And Ed, the Spartans playing very well defensively, and Rochester, despite moving the ball on a drive while we were away, they were not able to continue and ended up giving the ball back on downs. But the Spartans now with a 17-0 lead.
Well, and the key stat may be here that the defense for Case is giving up just 3.3 yards per play. Rochester primarily keeping the ball on the ground. In fact, they have 77 yards on the ground, 76 total yards in offense. They had one completion. It's gone for negative yards. Case, on the other hand, has almost 200 yards in total offense, averaging more than 10 yards per play. So if that keeps up, Case is in for another afternoon of approaching that 500-yard mark on offense.
Case did run up 62 points last week in a win against Kenyon, although they suffered some injuries to key players. So far today, the Spartans picking up right where they left off. Passing yardage for Rochester, -1 through the first quarter and a half. Coffey will line this one on the ground. It's taken by an up back for Rochester. That is Trenton Tully running it back. Tully, the junior, scoops that one up, gets it back to midfield, and that's where the Rochester Yellow Jackets will take over.
Officially, Dave, on the scoring drive, 6 plays, 31 yards. It took 3.5 minutes for Case, and Sam Coffey capped it off with a 37-yard field goal. Case's 2 previous scoring drives didn't total 2 minutes. The first drive was 45 seconds, the second just 50 seconds. So offensively, time of possession not showing exactly how well Case has dominated this game.
7 minutes, 14 seconds to play here in the second quarter. Mike Coolbaugh in motion for Rochester. Barrett fakes a handoff, rolls right, fires it to the sideline, and it's out of bounds. His pass intended for Zach Ingoldsby. Overthrown and out of bounds. 2nd down and 10 from midfield for the Rochester Yellow Jackets.
Well, we talked about it before we went away, and that Rochester would prefer to really have twice as many yards rushing as they do passing. Today it's been entirely on the ground for the Yellow Jackets.
7:08 to play in quarter number 2. Coming up at halftime, we'll be talking with Joey Baum. Here is a quick pass over the middle. It's caught by Coolbaugh. He's to the 45, cuts it left side, gets to the 40, to the 35, still in bounds on the left sideline, and steps out at the 32-yard line. Let's go down to the sideline and a report from Nick Stroud.
Gain is enough for a Rochester
Well, as you guys know, ball control is going to be a huge issue in this game. A few drives ago, Joey Baum put a ball on the ground on a bad exchange from his center. Since then, Joey's been on the sidelines working with his center, Neil Dolan. They've been going over about 10 to 15 snaps each time, trying to make that exchange feel right. But as you know, in weathers like that, it's easier said than done.
Nick, thank you very much, and that is a great point. You get that comfort level between your normal starting quarterback and the center, and now Joey Baum kind of forced into action and trying to get that same type of familiarity going with the offensive line. Anya Ruka carrying it for Rochester, gets down close to the 30, a pickup of 2, second down and 8 is next for Rochester as they try to chip away now and get on the board before halftime. It is 17-0 Case. We are at Case Field for the home opener of 2008. This is the season opener for the Rochester Yellow Jackets. And by the way, Rochester celebrating their 120th season of college football, dating all the way back to 1889. Under 6 to play, second quarter. Adam Barrett calls out the signals. The junior quarterback, wide receiver, Zach Inglesby, was offside as he took off upfield before the snap. So that will back the Yellow Jackets up 5 yards, and it'll be second down and 13.
They could have gotten Pedro Sosa, the tight end, as well for some movement. Him and Inglesby both moving on the first count. Looked to be a 2 count from Adam Barrett. But the call will go against Inglesby, but Sosa as well had a flinch on the offensive line.
Corey Checken has scored a touchdown for Case today on a 27-yard run. He has carried the ball 5 times for 40 yards. Greg Meyer, 3 carries, 51 yards, including a 43-yard romp. Now the blitz coming. Barrett goes back, dumps it off to Anya Ruka. He makes the catch. He's grabbed from behind, still manages to drag Jake May ahead for a couple of yards, but the play only yields about 2 on the play. So it's going to be third down and about 12 for Rochester. So Barrett was in trouble, got rid of the ball, and then Jake May was right on the back of Clarence Onyeruka.
Well, Jeff Brown came on a blitz and was in Barrett's face. He kind of jumped past it over the middle to his safety valve, Onyeruka, and then Onyeruka carried the 245-pound Jake May about 4 yards downfield before May could slide off his shoulders and down to his legs, wrap him up and bring him down.
17-0 Case, second quarter action, 4:52 to play here in the second quarter. Barrett back to throw again, fires it downfield, almost intercepted. It is picked off by Bobby Bott. Bobby Bott back to the 40-yard line, still on his feet. Cuts it back to midfield, across the 50 to the 40. Now another cut back. He gets tackled at the 30-yard line.
Bott came up with the interception, but Greg Kingscott had the tip, deflected it away, and Bott was there to pick it up and take it upfield for about a 60-yard return.
Bobby Bott with that zigzag pattern, bringing it back all the way to the Rochester 31-yard line. 4:32 to play now in the second quarter, and Case gets the football back after Rochester was moving the ball pretty effectively, but the drive snuffed out by the interception. And the Spartans now knocking on the door again. Joey Baum with an eye in the backfield of Meyer and Dyman. Baum back to throw, stays in the pocket. Now the coverage breaks down, and he's chased out of the pocket. He gets to the 25-yard line and picks up about 5 yards. Second down coming up for Case. The clock continues to move. Each team with 2 timeouts left here in the first half. We did mention we'll be speaking with Joey Baum at halftime. We'll also be catching up with Andrea Wadowitz of the Spartans volleyball team. And we'll be talking with Andrea about the Case for Community Day event coming up on September the 19th. Dyman bounces to the outside, gets down to the 20, picks up the first down for Case. And a new set of downs as Case gets close to the red zone, and Dyman pops back up after being down for a moment. The sophomore out of Mentor.
Billy Dyman showing some football smarts there with both hands on the football as he moved through the line, and not only from getting hit with the Rochester players, but with the slick ball. Billy Dyman doing a nice job covering it up, making sure he holds on to it.
3.5 minutes to play now in the second quarter. David Wilson, Ed Doherty at Case Field. Billy Dyman cuts right through the middle. He's to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown. Dyman with a 20-yard run. They opened up a huge hole for the sophomore, and he goes in for the end zone score. And the Spartans extend the lead 23-0 with 3:29 to go in the second quarter.
Travis Hughes, the linebacker for Rochester, got caught in the wash, and Dyman moved right off of that mistake and found a wide open path to the end zone. Good vision by Bill Dyman looking upfield.
Sam Coffey on to try the extra point. 3:29 to play in the second quarter. The snap to Colasar, the hold, the kick is on the way, and it is good. Coffey completes the PAT. 24-0 Case. 3:29 to go in the first half. We'll step away for this timeout, and we'll be back with more Spartan football in just a moment. Back after this 30-second timeout on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. (24-0) Case Western Reserve leading the University of Rochester. In the second quarter, Sam Coffey, perhaps energized by the first half play of the Spartans, he booms the kickoff into the end zone for a touchback, and Rochester will begin this drive at their own 20-yard line. Out comes Adam Barrett. 3:29 to play now in the second quarter. And Case all over the Rochester Yellow Jackets today, 24-0 at Case Field. Quick out to Inglesby. He makes the catch on the left hash mark and is down at the 28-yard line, pickup of 8. And it'll be 2nd down and 2 for the Yellow Jackets in this next play. Case taking advantage of some turnovers.
Luis Gonsalves had a couple of words for the linesman on the near side. He thought that Inglesby may have given him a push before the ball got to Inglesby on the near sideline. Wanted to know if there was any chance of an interference call being picked up by Case.
The Rochester Yellow Jackets has fumbled the ball away once, thrown it away once, and now Onyeruka is stopped for no gain as they hand to the workhorse, Clarence Onyeruka, who rushed for almost 700 yards last year as a freshman. And as his sophomore season starts today, he has carried the ball now 16 times in the game.
Well, offensively for Rochester, they were getting a push earlier in the first half, and Case has now gone to a 5 defensive man front to kind of stop that running game of Rochester.
High in the backfield for Adam Barrett. He'll go to Inglesby in a timing pattern, gets across the 45 down close to the 50-yard line. It's good for the first down. And so they go away from the running ground game to Onyeruka on 3rd and 1. And just when you wouldn't expect it, they throw on that slant to Zach Inglesby, and he gets out to the 50-yard line.
Well, Case almost dared Rochester to throw on that play. They had a 5-man front and brought 2 linebackers on blitz on that previous play. So Rochester picked it up and picked up the first down.
21 yards on the pickup. Barrett again looks to throw, but now directing traffic and fires it out of bounds As he stepped out of the pocket, he did have a man sort of in the area. That was Pat Till. There is a flag down, so we'll see if they're going to.
Ineligible man downfield.
That's exactly right, Ed, and it is called against the Yellow Jackets. As Barrett made his way toward the sideline, he aired it out over the head of Till, but they had a man downfield.
Well, initially it looked like Barrett was going to tuck it and run, and maybe gave his offensive lineman the verbal cue that he was going to run upfield. And with that, they took off. And at the last minute, Barrett decided he was going to either try to throw it in the flat or try to throw it out of bounds and get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. That indecision on Barrett's part will cost him 5 yards as the linemen were downfield.
Right now, 1:44 to play in the second quarter. We are at Case Field where the rain continues to fall. The home opener for Case in this 2008 season. Football is loose on the ground, picked up by Barrett. Now he turns left, gets to the Case sideline, is hit and dropped at the Case 45-yard line, so he ends up scampering for 10 yards.
Well, when he picked the ball up, he had his head to the ground, and he instinctively rolled to his right, Dave, or turned to his right, which would be the left side of the line of scrimmage as he made the full circle. And that was away from the blitz that Case brought off the far side. Had he rolled the other way, he would have run right into the teeth of that blitz from Case. Instead, he was able to pick up 7 yards by blindly rolling to his left.
Yeah, they do mark it now at the 45. Here comes the blitz again. Barrett is hit in the backfield, gets away, still on his feet to the 45, to the 40, down to the 37-yard line.
Jeff Brown and Dan Fody are both upset with themselves. Neither one could wrap up the wet jersey from Adam Barrett.
Barrett very slow getting up right now, and he is shaken up on this play. He was hit hard finally by Ben Klabina, who ended that run, but they are going to take a timeout here, and Barrett is walking very slowly over toward the Rochester sideline. 55 seconds left to go in the second quarter. It is a 24-0 ball game. Case is leading it here at Case Field. The Spartans leading this game by a score of 24-0. Barrett shaken up. He is now standing over there talking with the coaching staff during this timeout. Rochester with 1 timeout left, Case with 2 that they likely will not use here in the first half. So it will be a 1st and 10 as the yardage was good for the first down on the run by Barrett. But they do have their backup quarterback warming up on the sideline. That is Brazen Subik, who is getting loose out there. But right now it looks like Barrett will come back into the game. But he has taken a couple of pretty good licks.
Well, Subik is a freshman, but he's from a high school powerhouse, Don Bosco Prep out of Ramsey, New Jersey. So he's familiar with a wide open offense as well.
Barrett back to throw, goes to the sideline, and it's dropped by Zach Inglesby. And Inglesby upset with himself for not making that grab.
Simply turned his head too soon. Wanted to run with the ball before he had it, turned to his left. Forgot about catching the football first.
Case will be on the road next week at Oberlin College for a 1 o'clock game against the Yeomen. And we will have that game for you right at the top of the hour, 1 o'clock next Saturday afternoon, we hope. Barrett back to throw again. We'll go to the far sideline this time, looking for Mike Coolball, and that pass is incomplete. Bobby Bott there on the coverage. 47 seconds left, and it's 3rd down and 10. A rainy Case Field today here in Cleveland, Ohio. The clouds still very dark overhead, and not raining quite as hard as it was earlier in the ball game, but still coming down, and the field soaked. The artificial surface here obviously drains very well and is designed for that, but earlier when it was raining so hard, we did see some pooling. Here's a little screen pass, and it's caught by Elvis Njuko, and he spins his way down close to the 35-yard line. The clock will keep moving because that is not a first down. 4th down and 7, so they only pick up 3. 27 seconds left in the second quarter. So Case cruising right now, 24-0 over the University of Rochester. Case making a bid to go 2-0. Playing today without Dan Whalen, the starting quarterback. The fine defensive end Brian Calderon is also out. Tim Cowdrick is not playing. And we have a whistle, and it looks like a timeout is taken by the University of Rochester with just 2 seconds left in the second quarter. We'll step away for a timeout as well. We'll let Nick Miller pick one of the spots we need to make up. We'll take a 30-second timeout. Back with more at Case Field after this on the Spartans Broadcasting Network. Well, just 2.5 seconds remain here in the first half at Case Field. It's 4th and 7. One final play of the half for Rochester as they spend their final timeout. Adam Barrett will go back. He'll take a shot at the end zone. He heaves it down toward the far corner. It's up for grabs. It's knocked away by Case. On the scene defensively, Greg Kingscott. Well, we've got a spot playing here. I think we're back. I think we're back now. Greg Kingscott knocks that pass away, and that ends the first half of play. 24-0 Case.